Hello, folks. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Plucking Petals podcast with James and Kyle. As always, I am Kyle, and I'm James.
As we go a little something like, little something like this.
It's all about the good, bad, love, hate.
How are you doing, good sir? Well, I seem to be a little bit under the weather, so Kyle, are you able to finish this podcast? No problem, James. That is no problem at all. Our boy, James, is sick. One of your favorite podcasting, smart, delightful, amazing, and super duper handsome boy, James, part of the Plucking Petals podcast with James and Kyle. We were supposed to record a podcast this evening, and I got a message from him while I was at work. He was saying that he was very much under the weather and was unable to do the podcast, which is totally fine. Things happen. We are now in our December months. If you're going through this backlog, thank you for going through this backlog. But at this point in time, we are currently in our December months, mid-December if we're going to be a little more on the accurate train. So people get sick, and I totally understand that, and I totally get it. So I didn't want to not put out an episode because I feel like even if it's just a little bit, which is what I'm going to be doing today, it's still something, and I don't want anyone to think that we're not doing it because it's in December or we're taking a little break. We're not taking a little break at all. We just need 1 week to recover our amazing, perfect bodies, our phalanges and our melanges. I got to make sure our toes and fingers and shoulder blades are good. We got to make sure we're in optimal podcast recording, sense and sensibility. And because of that means that once in a while we will get sick. And I do apologize that James got sick. There was nothing that you and I could do. It's just you and me today. So I don't know if you thought it was James earlier in the episode, but I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit. That was totally me doing a 100% accurate impression of one of my good friends and fellow co-hosts of the Plucking Petals podcast with James and Kyle, James. So I decided that I was just going to talk for a couple minutes and then I'll let you be on your day. Now recording this, on a Monday night, you and I, just you and me now, buddy. That's totally okay. And not much is going on in my life currently. I have not a lot of things happening in December, and I kind of made it that way, which was cool. If anyone knows me, knows that I have quite the busy schedule, whether it be through improv or rap or just doing stuff. I always have to, I'm working. I'm trying to be better at this. I'm trying to be better at just closing that door just a little bit so I can have some time for my friends and family and my girlfriend and whatnot. And, I decided to take a little bit of a break. I got to clear my head a little bit. I'm still doing like improv practices and actually just booked a show in December. I thought it'd just be a fun thing to make sure my mind wasn't going, because if you also know me, is that I don't like to stop, and that's a personal problem of mine, and I am working on that. But I'm doing a show December 19th. I am opening for Billy Galewood. That is Galewood. He used to be this group called Bushwalla, and he's coming back from LA or New York, wherever he is currently residing in, and he's actually a Cleveland native. So it's going to be a fun show in Beachland and whatnot. I wasn't going to do the show initially because I wanted to relax, and there is some stuff going on and whatnot. My girlfriend is moving in to my place this weekend, so right after this, I'm going to be helping her pack and move stuff over, and just preparing for that to make sure that it is a smooth move. But I saw some of his stuff online, and I thought that if I don't practice, if I don't do things, I feel like I'm gonna slowly explode. So I decided to do this show. I'm very excited. He does comedy and rapping and music. He has a musical theater background, as though I was reading in his biography. So that's pretty cool. I'm very excited. I don't often get to do shows with comedy people. I did a show a little while back where I had like stand-up openers, and it didn't go super well. And I think that's partially because of me and my booking, and just not knowing how a show works. Because I'm just normally used to just me putting on the show, or not even putting on the show, being at the show and performing, and then not dealing with, the other side of booking and making sure things are flowing well and time management and stuff. And, so I often don't get to do comedy stuff because there's not a lot of comedy. There's not a lot of people who do comedy stuff. I was fortunate enough to open for Froggy Fresh, as well as Turquoise Jeep, when there was just complete good timing this year when it comes to comedy and whatnot. So I normally don't play out very often. At least right now, this year's just been different. But I like that because I have the new album coming out. Actually, Third Pedal, Patrick Stoops, P. Stoops. He and I sat down yesterday and finalized the last couple beats that we needed. And then I'm going to be, taking my talents to Texas for a couple days in February to hang out with my other good DJ friend, Robo Rob, and we're gonna make this album, and I'm very excited. It's been a long process, mainly because I tend to stick my toe in a bunch of different pools of activity, but it's finally gonna get done, and I'm very excited. Also very scared, because what if I put this time into this and it didn't pan out the way I wanted it to? I'm happy with the material that I'm putting out there, and I'm already starting to plan other songs after the album, because I feel like if you're not constantly evolving as an artist, you become stale and your material doesn't really land anymore. And I'm really trying to constantly keep moving when it comes to this kind of stuff, because it's fun. I really do. At the end of the day, rapping is probably one of my favorite things to do still, after all these years of doing it. I've been doing it since, high school. So it's senior year of high school I started doing that, just for extra credit, and just because I became lazy and didn't want to do my work because I had senioritis, would probably be the right word. I just kicked the table. I don't know if you heard that. I'm pretty sure this microphone picked that up immediately. So I don't know. Like, I'm very excited. The December's fast ending, and Christmas is coming up, the holiday season. I will say that I'll do a like and dislike. It's the same thing as ordering stuff online. I love technology. I think it's the most amazing thing in the world. And it makes shopping easy and oftentimes affordable, because there's no store besides Amazon. And I'm really enjoying that I just took a couple hours one day and bought pretty much the majority of the things I needed to buy. And I tend to do that often. I just tend to just get it and then go, not think about it. But this year in particular has been weird about the online ordering, is the fact that I've had two different delivery services lose two different packages. Thankfully, I got refunds, and then they replaced the packages, and I'll be receiving them hopefully before Christmas. That's what the goal is. I can't really determine that, but so I feel like it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I like the satisfaction of having an Amazon delivery service, but I don't like the fact that because it's busier, my stuff will get lost. But at the same time, Amazon, and I did a Vistaprint order for a gift. They were more than happy to replace the items that were lost, and I didn't have to spend any extra money, which I feel like is super, super nice. So thank you, Amazon, and thank you, Vistaprint. Ooh, you guys are getting free plugs, so it doesn't matter. Thank you, Amazon, and thank you, Vistaprint, for making my shopping experience a little easier, but at the same time a little more stressful when I'm seeing packages come in and then certain other packages not come in. So I don't know. Everything else is going pretty well, and what have you. We're done filming the music video and whatnot. So my friend Robbie, who we've had on the podcast before, is currently editing it, and our goal is to have it out by the end of January. Along with the song itself. I got a cover back from my good friend Dan Liuzzi. He is a graphic artist for a very well-known greeting card company, and he made the single cover for this, and I cannot wait to show it because I think it's very interesting and very intriguing and really fun. It's just, I like working with Dan simply because I am really bad at explaining things when it comes to art. And I just have to send him a couple sentences, and he understands where I'm coming from, and then decides that he can make this better than whatever my dumb sentences are. And I do appreciate that, because that just makes my job so much easier and less stressful. I used to draw out all my album covers for people, and then I realized that I can't draw, and even if I did draw and took time with it, it still wouldn't be what I'm looking for, because I can't portray something like that. So I've been better with my words, and I should be better with my words because I am a rapper and an improviser and a writer and someone who uses words on the daily, so he gets paid and can eat. So I want to close this out by saying thank you to every one of our listeners. I do appreciate this holiday season. I know it can be busy. I know that you could be rushing around, and you could be, you could not be in the best of moods, and I understand that, and we feel for you, and we hope that our podcast brings you happiness like it gives us, because James and I really enjoy doing this, and we're going to keep doing this. Because we find this to be fun, and we find this to be exciting. We like talking to people. We like talking to each other. Otherwise, if we didn't do this, we'd be still just like playing video games with each other anyways. So we wanted to create a podcast because we thought it would be a fun idea, and we still think it's fun. Although James's body does not think it's fun right now for him to do that. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in after all this time. We've done over 50 episodes now, and we keep trying to figure out new stuff and new ways to make this a fun and enjoyable listening experience. But for now, we're going to take this week to recover and whatnot. But I will say that in our absence, you should be listening to the Second Shot podcast with Devin and George. Devin and George have both been on the podcast in separate episodes. It is a delightful concept where they take a thing that maybe one of the hosts does not like and the guests really like, and they have to kind of convince them otherwise. They experience it again, whether it be I was on an episode and I did Skyline Chili, and I had them both eat Skyline Chili with me, and we talked about it and whatnot. People do like music and TV shows and whatnot, but this month, because Star Wars is coming out, they're doing a lovely month of a bunch of Star Wars stuff, and they're going through the prequels right now. I find it to be a most enjoyable listen. So, and they're local boys, and we do like to support local podcasts. So if you wouldn't mind, ending this podcast just for this week, we'll be back. It's gonna be great. We'll be back. James will be good. He won't be coughing and in pain and whatnot. And just listen to a couple episodes of the Second Shot podcast. It's good. I like it. I like it a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts because I like it better than radio. So I feel like a recommendation for podcast wise. I feel like you should you would enjoy it. I feel like they have the same sense of humor than we do and whatnot. So yeah, and if you could find my episode, I don't even know if it's still online. I am eating Skyline chili, so if you can handle mouth noises, that is the episode to listen to besides the Star Wars ones, because I find them to be interesting as well. Folks, this has been the Plucking Petals podcast with James and Kyle. As always, I am Kyle, and I'm sick. Good job, Kyle, on the podcast. Have a good day.